Hello everybody, welcome to Cautious Hero episode 5 anime review. This episode was all over the place really. We had like super serious moments, we had comedic serious moments, if that makes any sense, and then we had comedic moments. The end was very super serious, didn't really see the end bit coming, I'm going to be honest, all that stuff that was going on. The middle bit, made me laugh a little bit, I will confess. The beginning bit, well, it was just setting up the middle bit, so that's analysis right there. But yeah, I enjoyed watching it. It is interesting. This show can do the semi-serious stuff as well without losing its its comedy. It's like, I'm sure however they resolve it next week, the thing that happens at the end. Well, when we get there, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. But yeah, I feel like it's going to get resolved in a semi-comedic manner. But enough chit-chat and all that. Let's get right into the episode and everything, see what went down this week. Let's do this. So the episode opens up roughly where we left off last week. Well, not really. They're all back at town. Mash has just woken up from his, he passed out. He went through some things, so he's just woken up from that. Seiya accepts them as his baggage carriers, so, that's better than being completely useless, I suppose. You've earned some recognition. Good job, kids. Mash wants to be the apprentice and Seiya's fight. He's like, do whatever you want, I don't care. Which, that's pretty much what my reaction would be as well. Seiya, I agree with you, good much. They want to show him the Dragon's Den. The kids are like, Dragon's Den, legendary weapon, come on, let's go. Seiya's like, not quite. There's somewhere else we need to take a trip to. That place is the Divine Realm, because his party members, his baggage carriers, excuse me, not quite as strong as him, so he's finding people to train him. They go find Cerseus, who is cooking some cake. Apparently Seiya doesn't like cake, is something that I learnt this week. I'm sure it was brought up before, but this week they made it abundantly clear Seiya hates cake. He crushes 2 cakes. Maybe, he crushes one cake. Or does he just say no way? No, they crush the cakes after he says no way, that's right. Yeah, so they find Cerseus cooking, get him to train Mash, who at first he's like, no, please God, no. But then he's like, oh wait, Mash is actually not that strong. I'll train him. This will go well this time, unlike the weird dude. Yeah, he's fine with it. They meet another goddess whose name I didn't write down to train Ilululululu in fire magic. Didn't write down the goddess's name. Hopefully she's not that important. She had a cool design, so maybe she will be. Although all the goddesses sort of have over-the-top good design. You know what I mean? They're they're not just generic background characters. That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, Seiya and Rista walk away. They leave them training. Find someone to train Seiya. Run into her name is Valkyrie, who she's wearing clothes in some country. I don't consider those. They were like chains. A question. I mean, whatever, torture, sadism. That's the one. Yeah, she bullies and gropes Rista a bit. Seiya calls her an exhibitionist, like, "Oi, you exhibitionist, train me," which is, Seiya, say please, and then she'll say yes. Come on. Arya saves them. Arya is the friend kun. She's being overly familiar again with Seiya, which, oh, that reminds me, thank you to the person commented the last 2 weeks. You commented basically the same thing. I saw it though, and I think we're on the same wavelength. We both think that Seiya was the previous hero who lost his memories or something. Yeah, so me and that guy are on the same wavelength. I'm sorry I didn't write down your name. I should have done, but I didn't. So you know who I am. If you're watching, you know I'm talking about you. You're the one guy that commented, so thumbs up, you're my favorite. But yeah, Arya has a solution to their problem. Let's call it a solution. She introduces the two of them to the war goddess, Adanella. I had to write her name down, and she is a shut-in witch type guy. She looks like the one that doesn't talk in Zombieland Saga. I forget names, but she looks like that one. Yeah, it looks very much like that one actually. Yeah, she's a spooky girl. She's stuttering or whatever. She's sort of like a shut-in, don't really know what she was doing, eating some broccoli, because broccoli is the scariest food. I think so too. Also, this episode was called like "This Goddess is Spooky," and I was like, God damn it, man! You're a week out from Halloween. You almost nailed it perfectly. For shame, for shame. She shows off a skill called Eternal Sword, which when she used it, it just seemed like a teleport. But when Seiya uses it later, it's like an actual move. So, don't know what's up with that. But yeah, he wants to learn the moves, so she's like, yeah, I'll teach you. The next day, Adenella's got a blushy face after training. That's a bad sign, for her at least. And then the next day, Mash and Seiya are at the dinner table, and it turns out Seiya has been teaching his overcautiousness to Mash. So, you know, the only thing worse than one Seiya is two Seiyas, or 1.5 Seiyas. He's not quite Seiya yet. Adenella has, the third day, Adenella has completely shifted, or is this the second day? I can't remember. She's completely changed her look and everything. She's dolled herself up. She looks like, I mean, she looks more healthy. We'll call it that. Look, she looks more healthy for Seiya. So, you know, 2-day romance, 3-day romance, whatever it is, it works. What's her name? Rista even comments on it. She's like, he's like the goddess killer or anything? So I'm going to assume that Seiya is going to have a harem of goddesses, which, in this kind of show, it kind of works. Because he's not going to show any interest. He's Seiya. He's going to be like, no, too many liabilities, doesn't, you know, too much risk, not enough reward and all that. He's learned the skill, Adenella tells Rista, or he's like, oh, he learned it already. Then they're about to leave. I believe this is the last day. I haven't wrote the days down in my notes. I probably should have done that. Ilulu can't learn the flame magic. The goddess tells Rista, whose name I forgot, the goddess, can't learn flame magic. She's like, you should probably tell her and make her stop, because she's going to be disappointed in the long run. So that's either going to go one of two ways. Either Rista's not going to tell her, and then she's going to find out later and she's going to feel like betrayed or whatever, or she's just going to be able to do it out of nowhere, you know. That could also be a thing. That's what I think. Adenella has completely changed now. She's all cutesy and runs up to Seiya and gives him a hug, which is, you know, she wants to go with him, and he turns her down because she may throw cake in his face, and he hates cake, as we've previously established. They go and they're about to leave back to Geobrand, and Adenella starts kicking off, making explosions and that. So I thought the rest of this episode would be, okay, now they're going to stop Adenella. That's what they're going to do. And then we come back from the break, and they're just back. They've just left the guards to deal with that. They're back in Geobrand. Very Seiya move. He said his whole "I'm perfectly prepared" thing again, as there was explosions going off behind him. So, you know, I can only assume the Divine Realm is going to be being rebuilt the next time they visit. I know the time works different. That's how bad the damage is going to be. Yeah. What happened back on Geobrand, though? That's, I mean, this last part, the very last part, we'll get there, but phew, crazy scenes. So the squad heads off to the Dragon's Den, which coincidentally is my favourite BBC show. Was it BBC? I don't remember. I've never actually seen the show. But yeah, I'm going to look that up later. Dragon's Den. If you're American, do you have Dragon's Den in America? I don't even know if they still make it nowadays. They definitely used to make it when I was a wee lad. Anyway, moving on. Alulu's still practicing her fire in her hand, but she sucks, let's not forget. Seiya has a cool Phoenix spell that just instant wins, which sounds like the greatest thing in like an RPG. Like just walking along, oh, there's a low-level enemy, it's charging me, boof, Phoenix has killed it. That, you know, that sounds great. Rista tries poking, spying on his stats, and they say level 1 with 1 in every stat, and he's like, that's not even a good lie, you know. But then she tries to get poke her nose in a bit further, and her eyes get poked out, and it looked like it hurt when she turned around. Her eyes were all red. Almost made that the thumbnail, but nah. We got what's her name? The other Adenella can be the thumbnail instead. They go to a dwarf village and resupply some torches, and Mash is like, we need 5, and Rista's like, that's too many. We all know that's too many. And then Seiya's like, we need 500, and 5 will do, you know. Arguably maybe 4, because there's 4 of you. I mean, that's just simple math. Also, couldn't Ilulu like make little fire sparks? I mean, it's not consistent, but she could keep doing it to make light. I have no idea how magic works. We'll go with that. MP she probably has. So as they approach the dragon's den, the gate, Ilulu gets some command seals that appear on her hand. That's exactly what they are. Don't tell me they're not. Seiya knocks the seal down without them, because normally I guess they'd open it because they're Dragonkin, but Seiya just smashes the door down with the sword skill that wasn't a teleport, it was an actual, like, skill, which a bit different from what we saw, really. Ultimate weapon isn't there. Instead, there's a magic circle with a mysterious voice telling them to come on through to the land of the dragons. Seiya is like, it's a trap, sends a lizard to make sure that it's not a trap, but then it's not a trap, so they go. They meet friendly dragon man. I didn't write down his name down. They go see the dragon leader lady, and she gives Mesh a dragon transformation form, which buffs his stats like 10 times, so he's not complete Garbo in combat anymore, so that's good. And also he can turn into a dragon, and eventually he might become a dragon god. That's quite a good. That, you know, he got the longest stick, I'm going to say this time. Ilulu got a less ideal thing, so she's going to be sacrificed in order to become the great weapon. I forget what the name of it is, but yeah, so she's got to die. But I think no, she's not gonna. You know, I don't think that's going to happen. That was the end of the episode, so we'll have to see what happens next week. What I think is going to happen is Seiya's going to be like, it would be far more inconvenient for me to lose a bag carrier than to not have the weapon, if you know what I mean. Because like he's like, I've already made all these silver swords. He said it earlier, he was like, but I've already got 3 platinum swords. So what I think he's going to say, he's going to be like, I don't need the weapon. She's more useful alive as a bag carrier. So it's like, it's almost like he cares. But he does care. But he's wording it like he doesn't care. That's what I think is going to happen next week. Or maybe he really won't care, and then the other two, Rista and the other one, are going to have to talk him out of it. Or maybe Rista's going to be like, you know, that weapon would be really helpful, and Seiya's going to be like, we don't need that. Like, obviously we don't need that. And also, maybe the dragon people, maybe they're testing Seiya to see if he'll actually let them kill her, and you know, to see if he actually could be the, you know, if he's actually worthy of being the hero. There's so many things they could do. So that guarantees that all those suggestions that I've just said, none of them are going to be true, because, as I said, there's a lot of different things they could do. As I said earlier, I enjoyed this episode. I'm curious. This episode has got me curious for next week, which not every episode has done. Normally, I just kind of come out of it and like, whatever. But still enjoying myself. But like, no hype, if you will, for the next week's episode. This week, I'm like, okay, I want to know what's going on. What is happening? Like, I'm excited for next week's episode, so that's good. I think I'm just about to wrap it up. I don't think I've got anything else to say. Thank you everybody for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing and liking and commenting and all those other things that YouTube likes. I'll see you next week for another episode of this, and bye guys.